This is Ricardo Amendolia with another BJJ breakdown. This week I'm going to take a closer look at a position that has sort of fallen under the radar for one of the greatest BJJ fighters of all time, Marcus Almeida Buchecha. Which position, you ask? Well, if you watch my other Buchecha breakdown, you'll notice once he uses his very effective half guard sweep, he lands on top in a leg weave type position. Little did I know that is something he specifically intends to go to and has been using for a long time. The position he ends up in is what he refers to as the folding pass position. It's essentially Buchecha's modification of the leg weave pass or dope mount that allows him to put an extreme amount of pressure on his opponents to force them to give up side control, mount, or even the back. The position begins once Buchecha can fold the legs together and turn them onto one side. Once he gets behind the folded legs, he normally looks for an underhook on the opposite side, grabs the collar, and with his opposite hands looks for a front collar grip to pull him in and closer, adding an extreme amount of pressure. Then he starts to drive in using his hip bone into and behind the top leg, smashing it down and towards his opponent's head. This curls his opponent up but also contorts his body out in a way that causes extreme discomfort, especially when he flattens out the shoulder that he has underhooked. The thing with this position is he will establish it over and over again in the match, even side to side if the opponent attempts to push his upper body away. Trying to escape this position repeatedly is something very hard to prepare for, even at the highest levels. He can also get to this position a number of different ways, such as off a guard pull, from half guard, off of a takedown or even a sweep, and from the mount. Again, once he's there, he looks to advance, but forces the person on bottom to give up his position rather than him doing it to avoid counters. Let's take a closer look at the folding pass sequence and how it's progressed over the years. In one of his first matches at black belt against Leandro Lo, he gets to the position after he sweeps Lo, and Lo begins to try to recover guard. Buchecha has the left hand on Lo's collar to pull him in, but no underhook, which is a crucial grip and control in the position. Lo eventually recovers De La Riva and the match continues. A few years later, Buchecha faced off with the very dangerous black belt judoka Leonardo Lage. Leo forced Buchecha to turtle and attempts a clock choke. As Buchecha escapes and gets on top, he's able to establish the folding pass position. Using the grips, pulls himself and drives downward, forcing Leo to react and eventually give up mount position. Watch it here again. Buchecha sprawls out first to stabilize his position, then flattens Lage's right knee into his left knee, closing his legs underneath. Watch as Buchecha now gets the underhook with his left arm. This helps control Lage to prevent him from turtling, but also keeps him pinned down so he can mount when he chooses. In one of his many matches against long-term rival João Gabriel Rocha, Buchecha hits it again. Actually a few times in their matches. In this match in particular, Buchecha forces the position off of a redirection and pant grab at João's hip. As João attempts to switch hip directions, watch as Buchecha also switches sides, establishing the folding pass position each time. This meta battle is very frustrating for the bottom competitor and can not only physically break their game when done repeatedly, but psychologically is not an easy thing to overcome. Against another rival, Ricardo Evangelista, Buchecha establishes the position off of a half guard pass. This time he gets an underhook on the collar grip and hovers down on Evangelista's leg. As Evangelista attempts to straighten his body out, Buchecha beats him to the punch and fully passes to the right side and uses the underhook collar grip to help him get behind his shoulders. In one of the most exciting matches in his career, Buchecha uses the folding pass to perfection against world champion Muhammad Ali. As I mentioned earlier, he establishes it off of a half guard sweep earlier on in the match, which allows him to get to mount. Later on in the match, Ali surprisingly pulls guard. As Buchecha maintains good posture standing, Ali opens his guard up and attempts to lace his leg to possibly establish a lasso position. Buchecha uses the opportunity to end in the folding pass position for a short while. After a scramble in position later on, Buchecha establishes the position again and dominates the top, controlling and advancing from side and eventually mount once again. In one of his most recent matches yet again with the monster Ricardo Evangelista, Buchecha gets to the position from a shot and guard pull. Watch here as he controls Evangelista's pants at the knees and forces his top leg down in the folding position, where he sprawls his body on top of Ricardo's legs. Then, suddenly as Evangelista tries to recover, Buchecha hops to the outside to the back where he has perfect position for the match-ending choke. Watch here again how Buchecha makes the grips on the pants, stuffs the top leg down, and plants himself perfectly into position where he progresses and continues to dominate. As the humble and respectful champion that he is, he chooses to do his talking on the mats in competition rather than anywhere else, which is great for us fans as we continue to learn from his strategies and techniques each and every time he competes. With the greatest openweight reign in our sport's history, it's going to be an honor to see what Buchecha does next in terms of his career and as well as the techniques he contributes with to our sport.